to another exciting episode of Perpetually Ajar. I am your host, Katy Johnson, aka for KRWBY Productions. I play Weiss, Cinderfall, Penny Pella Donuts, and Velvet the Chocolate Rabbit. And I am also a producer, and I do some writing for our silly little content, and I host this lovely podcast with my amazing co-host.
What's up, guys? It's Beau. I voice Winter and Ilya for Ruby Bridge / KRWBY Productions. I am also the lead director of the VR shorts and one of the lead writers for that, and your co-host for this amazing podcast.
Hooray! And we have actually two special guests with us today. One you may know, and one is a secret surprise if you haven't seen the title of the video. Why don't you introduce yourself, our first new special guest?
Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Sternenberg. You may know me as Maria Calavera on RWBY, the actual RWBY.
Oh my gosh.
OG. This is it's like goals, man. Oh, goals.
What is that? Do we have a Tina?
What? No, hi, I'm Tina. I am now the executive producer of our crazy shindig production. I voiced Ruby and Emerald in RWBY Abridged, and I am just a general potate who exists.
Wow, to talk about my best friend like that.
Wow.
Wow, how dare. Yay! Well, you might be a potate, but I am recording on a potate today, so it is A-okay. Like, I apologize in advance to everyone. I'm using a headset because I am away. I am AFK, AFH right now. But we are still making this lovely podcast for you guys, and we are excited about all of our special guests we've had recently, and the lovely Melissa has agreed to join us for shenanigans today. And I would just like to know, what have you guys been up to? You know, any new games or any new projects you can talk about? Or old projects?
I was going to say agreed, but I'm pretty sure we kidnapped her.
That is fair. I was wondering how she got into the studio.
We just drug her over here. It's fine. We're like, please, we have cookies. No, I've been doing, I work 2 jobs currently. I might not be working 2 jobs anymore, which will be nice. I've been going to college for animation and 3D modeling my little butt off. So yes, that's what I've been up to, trying to make a living.
Yes. Out here in these streets. What about you, Melissa? Anything fun you can talk about?
Gosh. Well, for the most part, things are a little quiet right now. I just got back from Fayetteville Comic Show over in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Met some RWBY fans there. That was really cool. As far as actual projects that I'm working on, just finished up recording for a video game called Edge of Eternity. So I believe it's produced mostly in France, which is really cool. It's not a country that you think of often when you think of video games, but they've got a really gorgeous game in the works. And I was introduced in kind of a prequel DLC that kind of explains where the heroes came from when you joined them in the game. And so I got to play something I've always wanted to play, which is a love interest. I don't get to play love interests very much, and she's pretty cool.
That's so fun.
She's pretty cool. And so that was a lot of fun. Did some anime, did my first Funimation gig earlier this year, which was, goals for me. And hopefully I'll be seeing more of them in the future. Yes. I was in a show called Azure Lane, which is on hiatus at the moment. It's supposed to be coming back in the spring, and hopefully you'll be seeing more of me there. And I finished a kind of a smaller role, but a really fun role nonetheless, for a little anime called Actors Songs Connection with Sound Cadence Studios, who's actually how I got the RWBY. The RWBY role was through an audition with Sound Cadence. So they're great people, and I love working with them. So
that's awesome.
That's mostly what I've been up to. That and audiobooks here and there.
Oh, wow.
I do a lot of that between gigs. So
you've been really busy. That's really cool.
I try to stay busy.
Backtracking a tad, talking about games, I'm like really stupid excited for The Last of Us 2. And I'm like, I just found out my fiance bought me like the deluxe special edition, which is like 400 and some odd bucks.
Oh, bless him. Or her.
Her. Yeah. It was just like, dang, she was trying to be sneaky about it and make a payment on it, but I was there, and it's like, oh, you mean the Last of Us special edition pre-order, the one with the statue and and Danielle was just like, fuck, thanks. And I was like, you're not
actually speaking of games, for Valentine's Day, my boyfriend, he got me Animal Crossing. He pre-ordered it for me.
Everyone's talking about Animal Crossing.
I'm so excited.
My husband, so both of us love video games, and he will not stop talking about Baldur's Gate 3 coming out. We play a D&D campaign with our next door neighbors on Mondays.
Yes.
So there's a lot of familiar territory there. And so he's really excited about that. For me, what am I most excited about? I'm really just, my icon that you guys see on my Discord is actually my Final Fantasy 14 character. So
oh, it's so cute.
I'm a big Final Fantasy 14 fan. I'm always looking forward to more Dragon Age since they announced Dragon Age 4, but that's going to be a long wait. But I'm really excited for Baldur's Gate 3. That's the big one right now. Honestly,
I didn't even know about Dragon Age 4. Now I'm hype.
Yeah, it was just a little teaser.
I cosplayed as Dorian from Inquisition, so I love my.
I hope he's back in the next one.
My mage boy. Well, I mean, they're supposed to be going to what is it, to Winter?
To Winter, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like if he was ever going to be relevant, now's the time.
It would be a mistake not to include him. I'm going to go on record and say that it would be a mistake not to include him. Besides, they always BioWare. Yeah. Do you hear me, BioWare? You better include him. But the thing is, they always have the pattern of including someone from the previous game as a companion.
Yeah, so, I'm just so like...
But usually it's a non-companion person that they include because...
Yeah, Inquisition was the first one that we actually got to see our previous player character, so that was really interesting. I loved Hawk, not gonna lie, but like my Inquisitor is like... My Inky, as I call her, is just so near and dear to my heart that I'm really just like, I don't want to let her go.
I'm the same way. I call her my Quizzy.
Oh, that's
my
cute.
Quizzy.
I love how we all have like different like little nicknames.
Yeah.
Is it sad that I really, for Dragon Age, like I played through them all, but the only thing that it sticks out in my brain, because I like the games, but it's been so long.
Yeah.
Is just like, I cosplayed Morgan before. I absolutely love her. And I'm like, she's
iconic.
Your Brigitte cosplay, though, is like one of my favorites.
Mine? I don't know.
Yeah.
My Brigitte is okay.
I saw a picture of you with that wig and like with the overalls, and I was just like, "Goyle." But it's so cute on you.
I'm gonna do the armor. I'm gonna try to figure out how I'm gonna ship it to California for BlizzCon this year. But I'm gonna do the armor. It's gonna happen.
Melissa, have you ever cosplayed? Like, honestly, when I was looking at your icon, I low-key thought it was you in cosplay. I'm not going to lie.
I would love to cosplay my Final Fantasy 14 character. She would be amazing.
Yes.
So I cannot sew to save my life. So any cosplays I've done, I've had to commission other people to do them. So, which I'm totally fine for because I may not have sewing skills, but I do have money that I enjoy spending. So I'm all about commissioning
on independent artists.
And I like supporting artists. Yeah, I like paying people for the things that they enjoy doing. So I've had the main cosplays I've done. I've cosplayed Mimi Tachikawa from Digimon a ton. She's she's my girl. She's my babe.
She's a good girl.
And she's got some amazing cosplays. I actually cosplayed her when I lived in Japan. So she's got a very special place in my heart. I've cosplayed Sailor Mercury. She was who I originally wanted to cosplay as a kid. So being able to cosplay her several years ago was kind of a childhood dream come true. So that was fun. And I've also cosplayed a character from a Pretty Cure series. I'm a big Pretty Cure fan. And when I was in Japan, Pretty Cure 5, which is one of the less popular ones, but it's my favorite. I cosplayed the schoolgirl version of Cure Dream, who's Nozomi Yumehara. And so there's photographic evidence of all of those cosplays floating around.
Oh my gosh.
If people want me to post them on my Twitter, if you guys want me to post them on my Twitter, please tag me and ask for my cosplays and I'll show them to you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Everyone, please right now go at her on Twitter.
Casually does that right now.
Her Twitter is in the links in the description. So just go to the description, click her Twitter and just attack her. It'll be great.
So things that I want to, there's a ton that I want to cosplay for sure. I love cosplaying, but it's just limited by who I can commission, who I can get to do things.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gonna just throw this out there all casually, but when it comes to the ragtag team that me and my fiance are, I do the armor, she does the sewing.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
they're really good at making stuff.
They threw together
Power couple.
Captain Amari for me from Overwatch for a couple years ago.
In like 2 days.
Yeah, in like 2 days. I'm personally working on talking about cosplay. I'm working on May Marigold from Volume 7 for RTX. So I'm hoping to get that done. It's just money is a thing, and so
that's for sure.
A little bit of a struggle. Kind of.
I might do an updated Weiss, but I'm not sure because I liked my silly Schneebucks Weiss last year, but like I might do something even more wacky this year.
Schneebucks Weiss will be even better this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, I probably will bring her back.
Should I bring
don't
back
know if
the Schneebucks employee?
Yes. You should. We should have an army of Schneebucks employees. I don't know if you know, Melissa, but at KRWBY we have a parody of Starbucks called Schneebucks, and we have the little cups, and we just carry them around as if they're Starbucks amazing. Cups, and it's very fun.
Which by the way, we're bringing you one at RTX. So
oh my gosh. Yeah,
so I figured we'd see you.
Assuming that I'm invited to RTX, I hope they invite me. I would love to meet everybody. That's RTX last year was so much fun. Funny story. On my way back from I live in Austin, so I drove downtown and I parked the first day. The first day I went to RTX. I made the mistake of wearing sandals downtown.
Oh no!
And I stubbed my toe on like the foot of a traffic sign, one of those mobile ones, and I like messed up my left big toe really bad, and I still have a bruise on my toenail from it. So every time I take a bath or I look down at my bare feet, if my toenails aren't painted, I'm like, RTX. I messed up my toe, but man, that was fun. Worth it.
Great.
That is beautiful.
RTX was way too hot. Like I'm in Atlanta, but Austin was just like, no.
It was really hot. Yeah, it was.
You just live. Yeah. How do you live? You don't. You just stay inside in the AC.
Yeah, air conditioning. Yes. Really good air conditioning.
Which is why we're hopefully I think we've already got the reservations. We're gonna have hotels that are like connected.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because it's a huge hotel anyways, but we're at the Hilton, which is right next door, and we have I think 5 rooms right now. We're probably gonna get 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, we're going in.
Well, I hope I'm invited again. I don't think I get any say. I'll definitely let them know I'm down to come back. If they just get, all I need is a badge. As long as I have a badge, I'm there. I'm there for sure. But I definitely want to like go downtown. I always need an excuse to go downtown. I live up north, Austin. So.
Yeah, you just want to like cruise in, and you could cosplay Maria. That could be fun.
I did 3D Maria. Model out her goggles.
Yes, of course.
I could totally print those out. I'm just saying. Oh my God, I'm going to print them out later. Oh, I have an idea. Okay.
Oh my gosh, no. Yes.
Another funny
I bought a
story.
3D printer. I'm a problem.
Another little trivia here. I'm surprised this isn't on my wiki because I've mentioned it before. I actually live next door to some of the Rooster Teeth sound designers.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't find out until after I started working there because we kind of just ran into each other. I was coming in for a recording and we saw each other. I'm like, oh, hey, neighbor. That's kind of cool. So
you guys have like a little community of like Rooster Teeth workers.
Yeah, there's
you guys
actually
can just,
several.
Yeah.
There's actually several Rooster Teeth workers in the area. So we haven't really had like a shindig or anything, but I'm down.
Yeah, you guys can all have a game night and sound design and voice act together. It'll be wholesome and beautiful.
That would be fun.
I have to throw out there because, talking about things, my latest obsession, I just have to mention it, and Tina's going to be like, oh my God,
go off.
Is Tangled the series. Yes.
My next door neighbor loves that. She's been watching it with her little girl. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's so good. I was I just got into it like a month and a half ago, and I was like, because I kept seeing gift sets on Tumblr and whatnot, and I was like, oh my God, like this actually looks like it's gotten really good. Like I knew that it existed and whatnot, but the advertising was kind of horrible for it, so I never really saw much about it. And I started seeing gift sets about Cassandra, who's the character that my profile picture is.
Yeah, I thought it looked like it came from Tangled.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, so this looks interesting. So I ended up finally going and like sitting down and watching it and just like binging the whole series over the course of the last like month or so. And then I like wake up last Sunday and it's like the series finale out now. And I'm like, wait, what? But I just got here. and it's just done. It's over. It's done. And
There's like so much media to consume. It's like
really
hard to keep up sometimes.
And that's just in the English language. If you like anything that's international, you're just...
Yeah, it's just overwhelming. But that's also good because there's so much good content out there that's telling so many stories. So there's something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I watch like 2 shows, and I'm horribly behind on one, which is Supergirl. I love the show. It's cheesy. I love it. Don't judge me. And then the other is RWBY, and it's over. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do with
Wait
my
a minute.
life now.
Is it the show that's on Netflix, the one by Lauren Faust?
No, Supergirl, as in like the live action CW
The live action
show.
one?
Oh.
Yeah, the one that started out in LA and then moved up to Canada.
I don't know why. I've always loved Supergirl as a character, and I love seeing all the different iterations. And I can't say I truly dislike one over another. But I really liked. At first, I was kind of like skeptical. I didn't like the show, and then it got into it. And I'm like, I like this quirky sort of Kara that they have going on. I hate that they called her Kara too at first, but anyways, I digress.
They just had the 100th episode air.
Ooh,
but so that was really intense. That was a fun episode.
It's like 2 things, and Beau keeps going like, you need to watch this, you need to watch that. Katy's like, you should watch some anime. I'm like, I need to. I live under a rock.
No, yeah, I think I've actually been watching a little bit of anime with like Annika and Brian recently, and it's just been chill. I know that you like Macross, Melissa, and we have some heckin' Macross fans on the team that are high key supporters of that show.
Let's get Brian and Annika, round them all up. Let's go get the licensing. We'll just do a dub. So let's do it.
Harmony Gold loses it, I think, next year or is it 2022? Cool. I think they lose it in 2022 or
2022. Guys, we're getting back together. We're gonna make this stuff.
We're gonna make it.
We have the stuff to do it, and
we have the technology.
Great. Just saying,
it'll be perfect.
It's gonna happen. Melissa, expect a call from us.
Please
expect a call. I'm so happy that like we all have so many like things that we're watching and things that we're doing, because it's important to stay busy, but especially like in entertainment, sometimes it's just good to like educate yourself on what's out there so that you can like experience it all.
Well, I also think it's, especially when you're in the creative field, it's important to expose yourself to as much variety of entertainment as possible. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in the same biz all the time, and you'll never grow as an artist.
That's absolutely fair. Just like for actors, sometimes their bread and butter isn't what the stereotype would be. It's more like commercial work or the audiobooks or whatever. But a lot of people on the outside might think, oh man, if you don't do anime, you're not a real voice actor. And it's like everyone has these different standards of all of that stuff.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone who is trying to get into voice acting. They're wanting, they're just getting their start, and they were asking me for, some direction on where to go, where to start, and whatnot. It's a very common question, and there's a lot of resources out there, but there's a lot of misinformation out there too, such as the way in the information, world
era.
Glad that we have. But something that I told him before leaving, and I think it's important. I wish it was something that I was told when I was younger, is that just because you're not doing primarily character work, or you're not in video game, you're not, doing a lot of video games, or even if you're having a second job on top of your voiceover, even if voiceover is not your full-time thing, you're still a voice actor. If you do something, you're a voice actor. And so don't let some arbitrary, definition or goalpost of, unless I do this, I'm not a legitimate voice actor. That's not true. Yeah. Don't fall into that trap, because, I do stuff other than voice acting to make, I have a child to make things work. And, some people have spouses that are able to support them, and that's amazing. That's so lucky. Not everybody has that. My husband's a teacher. He doesn't make enough for me to do pursue. Yeah. To pursue voice acting full time, mostly because there's a lot of money that you have to invest into voice acting as well.
Oh yeah.
There's in order to stay on top of your game, you have to take classes. You have to treat your space. I'm not in my recording studio, guys. So before you say, "Oh wow, she's obviously not treating her space well enough," I'm on a headset right now. So
yeah, we're all on potatoes.
We're on potatoes today. Yeah, I'm
casual time.
My recording studio is right up against my daughter's bedroom. So if she's napping, I can't I can't do anything well.
Yeah,
I can't be very dynamic because it'll wake her up.
You could do really good ASMR though. Just
oh right,
yeah.
Oh
man,
always fun.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's really awesome information for, I guess, anyone out there that's wanting to get started, because there are definitely a lot of resources. Like, say you want to be a voice actor, D. Bradley Baker, who made that.
Yeah.
There's like we're definitely in a generation too where the industry is not the same as it was 30, 40 years ago. And so the ways to get started there's a lot more opportunities. Like, you can do a lot from home now, and it's really cool for anybody out there that's trying something new. Like, just do your research and you'll find an avenue for you.
Yeah.
Oh, but before we get to our Weiss Breakers, I actually wanted to ask Melissa, we don't know how much of RWBY you can talk about, but is there anything you would like to share about something you enjoyed about your character from this last season, or any thoughts on the last season?
From season 7?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've recorded for
season 8. Go ahead,
I've recorded for season 8.
Anything at all.
Or, actually, with Maria, she has been here for like maybe 2 or 3 seasons. Like, if you'd want to talk about anything, really, we are definitely here to listen.
What I really like about Maria is that I feel like she gives a different perspective from any other character that's come in the show so far, because she's older. What I really enjoy about it is that when I voice her, I bring this feeling of being just perpetually exhausted. And I'm able to tap into my recent motherhood with that, which is nice because I think she's kind of, when you've seen a lot and you've done a lot, it's when you get older, and I say this as someone who's in her late 30s now, so I'm older, but I'm not that old. So I'm like, oh yes, I'm old sage and whatever, I'm an oracle or whatever. But, as you get older, things seem less of a panic and less of an urgency, and you're able to kind of prioritize, okay, what things are actually really a big deal and what things are kind of the small stuff. I think Maria has a good idea of cutting through some of the BS and be like, okay, you guys are getting all caught up with these things, but let's refocus and shift back to what's actually important here. And I think that was something based on my limited experience of the seasons that precede her. I think she does a good job of helping bring some focus to the team.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that about her. And I just appreciate she says what she thinks, and she doesn't really care if people like her or not over it. Which
I feel like Maria's that character who she's nice and she's aged, but she is not afraid to say how she feels and speak her mind. And that's what I love about her. She's like that one lady you're standing behind in the bank, and she doesn't mind telling somebody that they're going slow and they need to figure it out. And she'll call people on their bull crap. And I just love it. I feel like, man, when I'm an old person, I'm old now. I don't know why I'm saying it. When I'm older, that's who I want to be, because I'll be like, yes, I just want to be her.
Right. Just in your sunset years.
Yeah, she definitely gives off that energy. And I do agree that, like, the perspective that she brought to the table, like, I wish that we would have seen more of Maria when they got to Atlas, because I just was genuinely interested to see what she had to say, what she was doing, because I think she was, hanging out with Pietro, and that's cool. I would have loved an episode or so just like centered around her for that arc, though.
Man,
like, because she's so fun, she's so interesting.
There was a lot going on in season 7, but you will see more of her in season 8, so don't worry.
Okay, great. But like, I'm gonna riot. It's sad that I'm just like, I'm just so worried for Maria. I don't want them to kill her, and of course I know you can't say anything, but I'm just like, oh god, if she dies, I'm gonna be like I love RWBY. RWBY is just, she's become like such a center point in my life, but Maria is like, wow, it's just like everything that I want in a character, but more. Anyways, I love Maria. She's so great. I don't know what it is about her. When we first saw
that trope
her,
though, of mentor gotta die. That's what
hero's journey.
No.
Especially like with that Yoda comparison, I'm like,
honestly, I think Maria would make it out. Like, I mean, we don't have to go into all the death theories, but I have other characters that I think would be more on the death row than
I feel
Maria.
like Pietro is also on death row, but
I gotta talk about, and it was cool because it was a different aspect of Maria, but honestly, one of my top like 3 favorite fights from Volume 6 was Maria versus Talk. like, and versus like the bandits, like young Maria, because it was just so cool to see. It was like the first time we really got to see a huntress, a full-fledged huntress, just at like her prime, just peak power. Like, you may not like it, but this is the peak, example of a female huntress. Like, that's exactly how I felt about that fight. It was just so well coordinated, and I thought that it was really cool to see. It was really the first flashback we ever got too. Like, we've never really had flashbacks before. So
I really like how that whole scene plays out. I in particular like the fight with Talk was really cool. Actually, I just tagged Melissa on something on Twitter with like some of the animation stuff, with how they did like the skirt dynamics, and I'm just like, wow, I love the scene and it was fluid. But now I understand like they had a special system just for the way that the skirt moved in that scene, and I was like, oh my gosh, layered skirts are the death of me.
Such detail, right?
It's so great, but you learn so much from those, and I think I love not only the show and the character, but I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff too, like that. And I remember at RTX, most of you were talking about, that flashback scene and like that scream and things like that. It was just it's so dynamic, and it's really cool to see how you can go from one type of character to the same character, but in another iteration of them, and have that play back and forth, and it still be synonymous with being that same personality. So, but it was just like, I remember we all watched that, and we were like, holy crap. That was nuts.
I was so excited for that episode to come out. First of all, when I went in to record for Maria, I think that was the first. I think I did that. Did I do that flashback in the first session? I did 2 sessions for season 6. I can't remember anymore. That was the newborn pregnancy/newborn era. So my memory of that time is very, very boggled. But I remember going in, and when they told me that I was going to be able to voice the young, well, actually, I don't think they were intending on me voicing the young Maria, but then when they heard my normal voice, they're like, oh, some of them were like, I mean, they had me in for other stuff. So they were like, hey, do you want to do the flashback Maria? I'm like, yeah, I've wanted to do a young character for you guys since I started working for you. Please let me do it. And so I gave him a few little samples of some different voices for Maria, and we found one. But that was such a surprise for me. That was such a treat. I was just on cloud 9 after doing that scene, because I wanted to do a young character, and it felt so cool to kind of be like, oh man, maybe they'll cosplay me now. I was thinking like, maybe there'll be fan art. Maybe they'll do fan art of her now. Maybe there'll be stuff of young Maria, because that's really cool. Yes.
Because actually, we do have a team member that cosplays. Lambency.
They know each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay.
We met. And so it was really cool. It was really cool seeing all these cosplayers of Maria, the younger version of her. I've seen 1 or 2 older Marias, which is also amazing. But yeah, it was just really cool to have that scene, not just from the voice acting side, but from the lore side. I feel like having that scene kind of made the world bigger. It opened it up a bit. And it's kind of like how, just because it's an example that is probably approachable for everybody. It's kind of like with Harry Potter, when they started showing flashbacks of, James and Lily and everybody, the Marauder era. Blah. It opened up that world, and now we've seen what the Harry Potter fandom has done with that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so I'm just like, oh wow, if KRWBY, if everybody starts giving more little snacks, little bite-sized pieces of what happened before, the characters that we know, think about what kind of engagement there could be. Because I already know that the RWBY fandom, obviously, as evidenced by you guys and so many others, is such a creative fandom. Some of the stuff that I see is just mind-blowing. And so just imagining all the different little pieces of history that they could feed us of what happened before season 1, there's just so much out there.
It's me just wanting, they keep hinting at stuff with summer, and I'm like, I want to know. There's every part of my being that wants to know, and because I'm just so engulfed by RWBY the character, and I mean the show as a whole, I'm just like, but what happened to her? Like, I need to know these answers. It's not going to change my life, but I need to know.
The really cool thing that they did specifically as of Volume 6 is they really gave the fandom like the bread and butter of what it is to be a fan content creator for a fandom, because they took this world, this pre-established story and this world that we knew, that we figured obviously it like things had to have come before, but they confirmed that some characters have literally been around for millennia. Is that like, you know, that you could be like, oh yeah, here's my RWBY OC, they're from Ozpin's Third Life, you know, blah blah blah, like, you know, 2,000 so years beforehand. Yeah, it just really made the world and the universe feel so much more vast and have so much more opportunity, because you could be like, oh, my OC is from, you know, before the Purge, you know, before everyone got killed off and whatnot. So they had magic and stuff like that.
Yes,
or
exactly.
whatever have you.
On a quick interjection, right, and with that as well, I think it's really interesting to see all of the fan content. Like, I went back to school to become an animator because of RWBY. And it was from talking with people like Barker and Jen Tidwell, Kim Newman. Those people like really pushed me to want to, like, okay, I want to do this. Like, what am I doing? Like, why am I not doing this? I was 3D modeling already, but I'm like, nope, you know what? I'm going to take the plunge, go in the debt and do it. But to see how many other people take the show and are inspired, like you said, creatively and make things, all the different, you know, fan groups, you know, you have like Neon and Silver and Pitch and all these different groups that have like these cool teams, and they're animating them. They're creating these characters. They're creating a professional pipeline just for something they love, and none of them are getting paid. And I think that's just magical. So not the not getting paid part, but the love.
The fan creators are the future, you know, producers. So I know that like I was a fan dubber before I started voice acting. I did lots of, you know, parodies and fan dubs and comic dubs and audio dramas and stuff that was created for free. I created my own audio dramas with help from others, of course. And they're still floating around somewhere, I'm sure.
It's like so beautiful to hear the stories. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite pieces of advice for people who want to be like content creators, because actors are very much so content creators still too. And I think that one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard for content creators is like, make the content that you want to see. Like, you know, like make your own work. Like who knows where it could lead to, because worst case scenario, you've got it on your resume, your portfolio, you know, you've got your experience being made through the stuff that you're making here, like on your own. But also then you get to be like, yo, I made this thing from start to finish. Like, this was all me, because I didn't have the means of, you know, bringing teams on or whatever like that. So
even if your first thing doesn't take off immediately, we all have things that start off that don't take off. But eventually it's practice, and you'll get better, and it's a learning experience. And most importantly, doing the things that you enjoy. If or when you start doing things professionally, doing the thing you love professionally can be tiring sometimes. It's not always fun. Sometimes it can be a real slog. And when you do things that you enjoy, when you can tap back into that love, saying, "Oh, I remember when I did this audio drama with my friends. This was so much fun." And then you remember why you did it to begin with. So don't wait to have a big break. Download Audacity. Get yourself a microphone. It doesn't have to be an amazing one starting out, and just get going. Just do it.
There's if there's a work you want to do, just do the work. If you want to be a writer, write. If you want to record. I actually saw a really astute tweet from Christina V recently that was very inspiring. It was like, it was going against the phrase, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Wrong.
But Christina V was like, that is wrong. If you do what you love, you will work every day of your life plus weekends, and you'll love every second of it.
It's true.
I was like, yeah, that's valid. Because like when you're doing something that you love, then you never want to stop. It'll still feel like work, but like the time you're putting into it, you would rather be there than anywhere else.
I think the original quote is kind of more so pointing towards like a lot of people associate the word work with something negative. So do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, meaning do something you love and you will never feel like you're obligated to keep doing this thing. Like you will want to keep doing it.
I'll kind of push that a little bit further. So like I love 3D modeling. I could literally wake up and 3D model for 12 hours straight and then go to bed, get up, repeat, whatever. That's just something like I love doing it. It's so much work. It's so tedious, but I love doing it. So it never feels like work. It always feels
you
like
have to fall in love with the process.
Yeah. And I think that's me. Other people find like UV unwrapping super tedious and boring. And I'm like, I love it. Like it has its moments, but I love just being like, okay, I'm one step closer to this finished piece. And then moving on to the next thing. And it's just always kind of like, man, to sit back and go, I did this. But I don't know. For me, that's how I am. I work around the clock, whether it's my day job, whether it's models, whether it's something on this project or otherwise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe it.
I love it. So,
no, it's so totally true. And okay, Christina V, she was a fan dubber. We did a Mac Ross fan dub together.
Yeah.
We did Do You Remember Love fan dub. She was Min May and I was Misa. So, I mean, we all started by practicing.
And I found a clip actually of her. She used to host with like Johnny Young Bosch, Keiji Tang, like this anime show, like this live action one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I remember it. Mm-hmm.
That was just, it's so crazy seeing how far a lot of these entertainers have come. And so when anyone tries to judge people that make fan content, look at the people that are in the positions of power now. Look at the people that have earned their way towards like the things that they're doing. It's because they just said, instead of one day, they said day one, we're going to start right now. Yeah. We're going to just go and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I find interesting, and then just about as a whole with voice actors these days, back in, let's say, even the 2000s, it was a totally different environment for getting in there, for doing things. Now we have such great mediums of content creation. I feel like so many content creators, fan content creators have greater opportunities to get into those places because there's less of, I feel like, a stigma of like, oh, you're just a fan dubber. It's like, oh, if you're good, like, come on, let's hear you out.
There are still gatekeepers, but it's getting to a point where there's no excuse for not starting. If there's something you want to do and you say, oh, I'm an aspiring this, no, just do it. Do the thing. Like there's so many places out there to audition. Like if you say, I want to be this thing, you have too many opportunities to not be doing the thing that you love. Professionally can be like, you know, that's where the muddy water happens. But you have viable ways to get into the industry. There are certain privileges, yes, that some people have, you know, like some people can't really afford a mic or this or that. But like, if you want to be an actor, start there. Do like free theater, do like script readings with your friends every week, and then maybe save up for a mic. Like if that's something you truly want to go into. But like, yeah, there's so many ways you can just be a performer.
It's true. And something that you'll hear everywhere, what people will tell you when you get into voice acting is you can have the top of the line, the same microphone that Funimation uses. And if you can't act, it's not going to help you at all. It's only going to highlight how much work you have to do. So don't wait to have a good microphone to start working on your acting, because the acting practice is the foundation, not how good your equipment is.
Yes. But I think it is time to move on to our Weiss Breakers. This has been a super fun conversation, but
oh gosh, yeah, I can talk forever about this.
Oh yeah. We might make this episode a little longer, but we don't want to use too much of your time. And we have some questions to go through. So how Weiss Breakers work they're kind of just like would you rather questions. And we usually have only twice in the history of this podcast gotten to where all of us answered exactly the same for each one. So let's see if we're on the same page for these.
Okay.
All right. Weiss Breaker number 1. Would you rather always be able to find a lost item or see 5 minutes into the future once a day?
Who's answering first? Is it me?
Sure.
Okay. I would always want to be able to find a lost item. I actually already have this kind of, because I called it my superpower. I'm Find It Girl, because my husband always loses everything. But, sometimes I lose things too. And I'm thinking about how much money I would save if I could find some of the things that I lost. Also, because honestly, seeing 5 minutes into the future once a day, it's a crapshoot on whether it'd be helpful. And honestly, it would probably just make me anxious.
I lose things more than I care to admit. I'm a person of habit. If I pick something up, I put it back in the same spot. If I don't, chances are I will sit there for 20 minutes trying to find where I put my pencil that I just picked up and used for whatever God knows reason. Or, I was working on my art tablet and I put my pen down somewhere and then it ends up being like in the kitchen drawer. Don't ask me how I do that stuff, but I do.
Witnessed her do this.
I'm literally like, I'm that person who will have my phone in my hand and be like, where's my phone?
That's my husband.
But that's just literally like my fiance will rag on me all the time. I'm like, have you seen my wallet? She's like, do you lose it again? I'm like, listen, I haven't lost it in 2 whole weeks. I don't know what you're talking about. It ends up being like,
it's been 2 whole weeks, Danielle.
But I am the master at losing things. I'm a person of habit, and if I don't if I don't pay attention to it, it's out of my mind. I'll forget where I put it, and I'll put things in places so I deliberately won't forget them. So I'm gonna go with being able to find a lost item because I'm
trying to figure out if what helpful scenario seeing 5 minutes into the future could truly create.
I was
thinking of really funny ways that the 5 minutes in the future would think would be helpful, but then it's just right when you hit the 5 minute mark, it's not helpful. And it's oh man, every time you're about to ask someone out, you look 5 minutes into the future and you're just stumbling over your words so much that you're just will you go out with me? And then you don't see the outcome because that was the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That would suck.
I want to kind of juice this one up a little bit. I think I want to make it you can stand there, and if you're okay, I activate this now, you can see the entirety of from that moment you said I'm activating this to the 5 minute mark in the future. So you can see everything that happens, hear everything that happens in there. And if we went by that rule, if you wanted to go on those trivia game shows, you could save it for a big question.
But so hear me out. Is it then you're able to change the future? So it's kind of okay, if I pick this option, this would have been the next 5 minutes of my life sort of situation?
Yeah. So you could see what potentially is.
That might be. Okay,
but only 5 minutes and once a day. Just once a day. So you have to choose your battle.
Okay, so hear me out. Just imagine not being able to find the items, time is money, things of that nature would be really helpful. But imagine being in a convenience store, going to buy not scratch off, but a lottery ticket. And you go in and you look on your phone to see what the winning numbers are. You think ahead into the future and you to what the winning numbers would be. And right before they draw, you buy that ticket.
Don't they have a cutoff? They don't. I think it's 24 hours before they draw.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to use that for 5 minutes. But for trivia shows or silly stuff. Yeah. For a raffle maybe. But you'd have to get in there real quick because you only have the 5 minute time span.
Okay, I'm gonna go with lost item still because I lose too much stuff.
I would go with lost item, not for myself because I don't typically lose things, although I would really like to find that key that I lost.
You could be a treasure hunter.
I could be a treasure hunter. I'm gonna live my dream and be a female adventurer. Just get my Indiana Jones hat and go off and
I hadn't considered the semantics of the question. It does say a lost item, not your lost item.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely, even more so I stand by my answer then.
Okay, so
I'm definitely going with the items as well. So hey.
Another question to go along with it. When it goes with finding a lost item, can an item be an animal or person?
It has to be a not living thing. It has to be an item.
I was if I had this power, I'd go find my cat that went missing. Aww. But I probably wouldn't want to know the outcome.
No, it has to be an item.
So long.
Baby.
Yeah. So maybe, for example, if the collar on the cat,
Dope. Man, I don't want to think about that. It'll lead me to some dark, decrepit cave. It'll be some coyote den or something, and I'm okay, I know the answer. Goodbye.
I know the answer. Goodbye.
That would be oh man, oh god, that would be so interesting. Lost item. Yeah. So what if you're looking for a lost kid and you're just he just wandered off a few minutes ago, where is he at the carnival? And you're just oh well, did he have anything specific with him? And they show you a picture of this teddy bear that he was carrying. You could focus in on the teddy bear and probably find the kid with the teddy bear, right?
Exactly. It's like scrying in Dungeons and Dragons.
But you would reunite him with his family.
Yeah,
it's a good thought.
Just the thought of lost kids and lost cats. I'm
I used to work at Disneyland, so lost kids are just a dime a dozen, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
those kids wander off, or the parents wander off, and it happens so quick.
Yeah.
Well, we were all able to unanimously agree on the first one, so let's see how we do on the second one. All right. Would you rather have the ability to read people's minds or make two people fall in love? Now, you see, for me, both of these are kind of invasions of privacy. And like, I'm low-key uncomfortable with both options.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather, I never want to play matchmaker between people. And reading people's minds, would be invasive. But I think I would rather that than trying to make two people fall in love, because I've tried to play matchmaker before and it's failed. I've tried to play matchmaker before by accident and it ended up working out, and they're still together like 8 years later.
Here it is, guys. Here's the loophole. You can make two people fall in love and you become a marriage counselor.
Oh no. Okay, first option.
No, thank you.
That's a lot.
I'm going to read people's minds. I'm always super paranoid that I'm not reading a situation right. So maybe that'd be bad to have, but then I can kind of know, okay, like they're done with this. I can walk away now and not overstay my welcome, if that makes sense. I'm like, that's one of my super like social paranoias. It's like, oh my God, am I annoying them?
One of my concerns with the being able to read people's minds, though, is part of what... And, you know, like, Tina, you can vouch for this. Like, I've been really, really working on, like, being careful what I say and, like, filtering myself and making sure that it's, like, there's a difference between, like, you're entitled to your, like, thoughts and your opinions, but how you vocalize them makes all the difference. I will openly admit that a lot of times my knee-jerk, like, thought in response to things is probably not the best. But what's been the struggle with me is making sure that that's not the thing that I share, that I'm like, okay, well, let's take a step back and think about it. And I'm not too sure that I would want what those initial knee-jerk thoughts be like read.
That's fair.
So.
Yeah, because that's a thought crime. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, because then people could get mad at you for something that you never said or something that you never did. It just happened to be a thought that glanced across your mind, but they happened to catch it at just the right moment, and then they're going to hold you accountable for something you literally didn't do.
Yeah, so there's an anime called Psychopaths.
I instantly thought of Psychopaths.
Yes, 10 out of 10 recommend. No spoilers.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my probably horrible idea and be a marriage counselor that makes people fall in love.
You know,
but only if they want to. Like if they want to, I wouldn't do it against.
They would
their
have to be
consent.
predisposed.
Yeah.
I actually agree, and I want to go the two people fall in love route because I think reading people's mind would be too much power because it's too tempting. But making people fall in love, I could just never use it unless maybe there's a situation where two people are like, can you do this for us? Versus reading people's minds, that's mostly something that could be used selfishly. But I could see the second one having circumstances that are selfless, maybe.
So with the mind reading, though, is it... If you don't do anything with it, like if you just know and you're like, oh, okay, somebody thinks this all the time. Like if Katy's always like, man, I really hate Tina. I just wish she would stop like talking to me or whatever. And then I would know. I would, without even having to make you feel awkward, I'd be like, okay, she doesn't like me. I'm going to just back away.
But like, also, that's how our opinions change every day. Because there can be one day where you're like, oh, I just don't want to talk to Tina right now. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, Tina, like, let's go hang out. Like, because we go through stuff, you know?
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm like one of those people. I'm always like, oh God.
Yeah, because human beings, we aren't like the extreme, like if we feel this way today, that is how we feel forever and always. Like that's not quite how it works. And so I feel like there's too much potential for skewing there, I think.
That's okay. That's fair. That's valid. I think I would still go with that because I don't have to do anything with it.
I liked what you said, Melissa, about they needed to be predisposed to like they want to fall in love. Like they've fallen out of love, and for whatever struggle they're going through, like they actively want to make it work, and so that's why you're
like,
able
that's
to do
beautiful.
It. Like you wouldn't be able to just take stranger A and stranger B and put them together and make them fall in love. Like there has to be some kind of connection.
I think the question implies that you could do that, but you don't have to do that. Yeah, like because there is a way to take advantage of the power, but you can make the decision to not be an asshole.
You could just be the best marriage counselor ever.
It's true. So, Melissa, what answer do you want to go with?
So, my answer is... So, my approach, maybe I'm slightly more optimistic and I'm not thinking about all the nasty things people think, but I'm thinking about the ways that my own interpersonal conflicts could be resolved with the ability to read people's minds, because I feel like a lot of a lot of fights and arguments and whatnot occur because people are either afraid or unable to communicate how they're feeling properly.
Yeah.
And I think being able to read people's minds would give me a better idea of where they're coming from when I disagree with them.
Yeah, at least like
That's fair.
understanding
That's
their like
valid,
thought
yeah.
process and whatnot.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I think sometimes, because especially with people, like, for example, if you have a political disagreement with them, right?
Yeah.
Very often, the moment we have political disagreements, we kind of fall back into our emotional responses, and we don't think about, okay, well, why did they think this way? So now certain things are like, okay, that's because they come from, a prejudiced background. They have this racist feeling or whatever. But certain things like economics and things like economic disagreements.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why do they feel this way? Oh, it's because they're a small business owner and they are being, taxed the same amount as Amazon should be taxed and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't. Feel free to cut out this political part
this affects
if you need
them
to.
directly.
Yeah,
like,
but there are like, for example, my friend, her dad works in oil. And so she's afraid that if certain things go a certain way, he'll be out of a job. And I'm just like, it's so, but it took them years of fighting for it to finally get down to the crux of the matter. Whereas with mind reading, you can get it right then and there and avoid all of that arguing. And so,
because
I think it could be used for bad, but I think it could be. But the reason I would want it is because I would want to use it to avoid arguments.
That's fair.
True.
And
that is valid.
I feel like for me, it's to be as or just to be away from any sort of confrontation as possible. And that's whether it be like you said, people are often afraid to say maybe how they feel or things that they're thinking or even vocalizing it effectively. So how many times...
It would boost your empathy.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you been in a situation where you're either having a hard time reading the situation or you just don't know how someone feels or you don't want to upset them further. Maybe there's something going on and they don't want to talk to you. So you can kind of like, all right, I'm going to back away. But I understand now without you having to open that door. Not that you're going to do anything with it, but there's that empathy that exists.
I think my biggest concern with that is like, I agree with all of that. But then there's also, it's like, okay, you read someone's thought and you just happen to hear like their thought, their feeling about this current moment is like, God, I hate Beau so much. And there's no context to it. And you don't get that context because all you get is what they're thinking currently. And if all they're thinking is how much they're mad at someone or how much they're, upset at someone, you don't get to just go up to them and be like, hey, why are you thinking about how much you hate me so much? Because then you've revealed that you've, invaded their privacy.
So
I feel like it would just add to my
I think it ultimately
stress about situations even more because I wouldn't get resolutions from it.
I think it ultimately just depends on it depends on how old. I feel like what your maturity level is. I think in some ways,
that's fair.
Having as someone who used to be very confrontational. I learned, sometimes that direct confrontation is not the right idea, or maybe it's just not the right time. And so, you take that information and then you think, well, what you first self-reflection, what could I have done to make them feel this way? And then rather than say, hey, why do you feel this way? Be like, hey, I noticed that, we haven't been as close as we usually are. Have I done anything to upset you? Because I feel like we're disconnected.
That's a smart way to approach it.
You learn how to interact with those sorts of conflicts. I have conflicts with my best friends, and we definitely don't go, hey, you're being this way to me. What's wrong? You don't put the responsibility on them. You say, hey, something's going on where we're not connecting. What can I do to make it better? Let me take responsibility for this. You have to, it's kind of, you need to take responsibility for your feelings, but I will take responsibility for my influence on it. It's that sort of thing.
That's a really astute answer. I really like the direction this question has taken everyone's thoughts.
It's taken me freaking 15 years to figure that out.
My brain immediately went to Life is Strange, where she just gets, she knows what people are thinking because rather than hearing people's thoughts, she's able to go through the conversation and know exactly what they're thinking because she provokes them to a degree and gets them to just say what they want to say and then rewinds and then just manipulates the conversation to not go in that direction.
Oh God, I didn't think
to
about
me
that.
Just feels like my brain goes to like the manipulative side of it, and there might not be malicious,
sure,
but it still is just like if you are aware of what they're thinking and they're not aware that you are able to read that about them, I feel like that's a really gray area of like, it might potentially help the situation, but should they somehow, somewhere down the line, find out that the only reason you guys worked things out was because you violated that invasion of privacy, like, that might make it 10 times worse.
I think this question is really, I think there's no good answer for this one because both of these are really awful.
I can agree.
I'll tell you the reason. I'll tell you the reason I didn't choose the second half is because I'm sure you've heard this before. Love isn't everything. You can have two people fall in love and they can be people can love each other and be completely toxic for each other. And I feel as a human being, as someone, I don't know I would need to be able to read their minds to know if they're actually good for each other. Because I know people that love each other and man, I wish they would break up.
Oh man.
Yeah. I know some people like that.
I think we've all been there and know someone who's like that they're like, they love each other vigorously, but they're also not good for each other.
Ooh, because like love is important, but connection is,
I think
is
being
more
a decent human being is an important part of it.
Very, very much. Dang, this was a deep one. So I guess we're just going to go.
It's like the lesser of two evils between these two.
Yeah, because they both have definite negatives and definite positives. So it's like just choosing like lesser of whatever. Yeah, but we had a kind of even split there.
I guess I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna say read people's minds because I can choose not to.
Here. That is true. So I'm just gonna resist I just don't even want to be tempted because I get so anxious.
Don't be the odd one. Don't be the odd one.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stay with the love one.
I'm gonna be contrary.
The rebel.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the contrary. Usually Beau is actually the contrary.
It's normally me that's the rebel for the first question that we like disagree
But today,
on.
I am the rebel today. I'm doing it.
I'm
raised
committed. You well, Weiss.
You did. You raised me so well, Winter. All right. So first question, full, even, agree. Second question, one odd, one out. So let's see how we do for the last one. For the Weiss Breakers, and then we'll get to our Winterview questions.
I'm going to predict a tie because we have 2 and 2, so.
I think so. Okay, so would you rather never have to stop at a red light again or never have to wait for food at a restaurant? So this is like a time question.
This is an easy question for me.
Oh, do it. What is it?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go ahead? I would never stop at a red light.
Same.
Ooh.
Because honestly, for me, waiting for food at a restaurant is great because I get to talk to whoever I'm with.
Exactly. Yeah. Because then if you get your food and all of your friends aren't getting their food, then it's like, well, heck, like I want to share this ability with them so that we can all do it.
I definitely would never want to stop at a red light because I have to drive for work. I have to drive for a billion other things, driving to conventions, whatever.
Yeah.
When I do drive. And it's so much just sitting there staring at the red light. I can't tell you how many times I spend more time sitting at red lights to get to work than actually driving down the road.
God, ain't that true?
Yeah.
Same. Big same.
I agree. I'm 100% in the red light squad. Like, yeah.
so I'm one of those people that where I have to go to for work, I don't get on the highway, which is nice, but I live in Atlanta, so that's not nice. And it's all just red lights the whole way. And of course, at 7 o'clock in the morning when I have to go into work at the vet, it's just ridiculous. And I'm like, okay.
So here's my thing.
Uh-oh.
Here's my thing.
You don't drive.
I'm always the kind of person that likes to get places early and whatnot, or like at the very least, like I try to be very prompt and be there on time. And so I'll go to the restaurant ahead of time. And while you guys are all not having to stop at red lights, I'll order the food so it's there piping hot when you all get there.
Oh, aren't you clever?
So are you doing this? Are you going to be the odd one out?
I don't drive, so.
Oh wow!
The red light would be kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, if I'm the one driving, like it would.
Your Uber?
Okay, so what if it's whatever vehicle you're in? If you're in the vehicle, you don't have to. The vehicle doesn't stop at red lights.
But see, again, I'm also the one not driving. I just gotta sit there and enjoy the ride. So like.
That's fair.
Then I want to add to this. I do
get really motion sick though.
If Beau, if you have the stoplight power, if you are in the vehicle being driven, then that means no red lights for that vehicle. And if you choose the food one, if you are in the party of food people, no one has to wait for food.
I'm still gonna go with the food. I hate waiting for food.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I get
that, like, you know, humans take time to do things. I get that.
Yes.
But if I had control over not having to wait for things, specifically food, because I can't tell you how long, like, conventions would be amazing.
Oh, you're right.
Getting to go into, like, a restaurant with all your friends in the middle of, like, San Diego Comic-Con and not have to wait for anything, and everyone else is like, what the fuck?
So does that change anyone's answer if we add those caveats to it?
No, red light's getting to the con for, like, San Diego Comic-Con.
Mostly because I have to drive everywhere, especially with a child in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
that seems like that would be the worst, especially it's like long day, like cranky, ready to be home and in bed. You're like,
I think I'll do the red light for that too, because honestly, when I think about it, even if me and my friends could get all of our food, I really like, one of the best parts about going out to a restaurant is you're just there to spend time with each other. And I kind of like it when the food takes a while, when like we're having a good conversation and it's like kind of a part of the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also just be having a conversation while the food is there.
No, when the food gets there, Katy ain't talking. I'm eating. Like, I'm hungry. Let's go.
I'm sticking with food.
Well, dang, we have Beau as the odd one out for that one.
Well,
cannot believe.
Well, all right. Then, now that we are warmed up with Weiss questions and 40 minutes of RWBY chat, because mood, let us get to our Winterview questions. Did you get a chance to look over them, Melissa?
Yes, I did. The first one's kind of hard.
Ooh,
same.
Then let's just jump into it. What is your go-to easy snack? Like something that you can just put together real quick, like no effort, like easy snack.
So this was never one. This is one that happened once I gave birth. So this is really weird because I'm not much of a peanut butter person otherwise, but like the little mini pretzels and just dipping it in peanut butter.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah. What about the peanut butter filled pretzels? Do you like those ones?
Those are okay, but this is easy.
That's fair. I mean, the peanut butter pretzels are literally like you don't even have to get the peanut butter out. It's just all there.
It's true. But I like chunky peanut butter, so
same.
So yeah, that's my to-go easy snack for the most part.
Well, heck yeah. What about you, Tina?
Oh, God. I really, really love, like, if I'm just doing anything and it's like even having a party or just like a movie night, I always buy chips and I'll make a homemade sour cream and onion dip. It's just like my favorite thing to have when like watching a movie or at a party, or I don't know why. I just love it. And it's just something really specific. Other than that, like, I don't like a lot of junk food. Like you say go-to snack, and my brain was like, does steak count as a snack?
Right. I was like, avocado toast.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Bubble tea.
I still never had
either.
I've still never had avocados. Someday I will. But yeah, no, I think chips and dip are like my favorite snack.
I just go to like a Nutella and Ritz crackers. Like super easy, super yum.
Beau, what about you?
I don't really cook for myself much. It's pretty easy considering I use a cooker for it rather than like cooking it on the stove. So I guess if it's something that's not like, I was gonna say Hot Pockets because they're really easy and you just toss it in the microwave for a couple minutes. Those are easy. But I really just like plain white rice. Like just pour a couple scoops into the rice cooker, press start, and then like 20 minutes later it's done.
Yeah, like, that was my other one is I do a tamakaki gohan, which is like so you get an egg and you break it over
Yes.
And so you crack it over just really hot rice and you let it cook and then you put soy sauce. That's my go-to when I'm hungry and I don't feel like doing
I've never had that.
It's really good.
You know, I need to get a rice cooker. I haven't had one in years. I'm just like
can't live without.
I had a friend make that for me, like homemade when I was visiting. It was like something he did like a family recipe of it, and it was like he had like some like crab in there, I think, like just like little fishy parts and like a lot of peas and carrots and then the egg on top and mixed it in, and I ate it with chopsticks, and the rice was like sticky, but it like,
mini tangent, but since we're on the topic of amazing food, I wish out in Battery Park, where they opened the new Brave Stadium. I want to say it's a Brave Stadium. Don't hold me to that. There's this amazing little, like, it's not even a hole in the wall. It's like this little almost cafeteria place where there's a bunch of Japanese restaurants. And I'm not talking like Americanized Japanese. I'm talking like the signs aren't, like none of the menus.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
And they had this amazing ramen shop. And so I was like, okay, cool. Me and my fiance for Valentine's Day went there, and we did a VR experience that was down the road from it at the Void. And then we went there and had this amazing Japanese food, and it was nice because you don't get authentic food often. It's all very Americanized.
My dad, where he lives in Vegas, is like a mile away from like their
Chinatown,
like Little Tokyo essentially, or their like Japantown, and it's all like authentic, like super good, like that like these people's heart and souls went into this food that they're cooking. Like, it's the best. Like, I love eating there.
Next time you're out here, I have to take you to Korean barbecue out here, because there's
yes!
Korean barbecue. There's Koreatown.
Guys, I'm dying. I'm so hungry.
Come on, let's go, Melissa.
We'll make it happen. We're all gonna Korean barbecue one day. It'll be great.
They have this. Anyways, it's great. I'll send you it later. It's great. Korean barbecue.
I love Korean barbecue.
It's literally like 2 miles from my house. It's literally like you cook your own food, and they have you this
bulgogi.
Nice
yes, Dragon Con, fam. Dragon Con.
Dragon Con. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Beau, do you want to take us to our next Winterview question?
Sure. My first question is, do you have a specific character or like show or movie that inspired you growing up? And if so, what was it?
Or who was it?
Or who was it? Yeah.
That's well, I talked about this a little bit. So there's one character in particular that that definitely put me on the track to voice act. And I guess she kind of set the bar for me as far as like characters that I enjoy. And that's Princess Sally from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sally Acorn.
Yes, she's my girl. I wanted to be Sally when the show was on the air.
Queen.
She should have been. She definitely should have been, but she was too busy, helping the freedom fighters, and she wanted to, have her feet on the ground, boots on the ground, really. But yeah, so, she as a character to me was the ideal strong female character, and I hate using that term because it's just lost all meaning these days. But she was a character that was still kind of girly, but she was still she took a leadership position. Everyone deferred to her for decision making. She had emotions. She had attachments. She had an amazing voice actress. Kath Soucie is to this day one of my all-time greats, and I would love to meet her and love to take a class with her. But she kind of, she was a redhead, and I really liked that about her. She was just a great character, and I still love her, and I still kind of obsess over her. And so she's probably the most influential character that inspired me growing up.
Preach. Yes.
So thinking about it, I've realized that I really didn't have a character that inspired me growing up. And I say that in a sense of I was very, it should be, I think, no surprise to people, I was very insecure about who I was as a person. I was bullied a lot. I was specifically insecure about my gender identity of just being a woman. I never felt pretty. I never felt beautiful. I was always the tomboy rolling around in the dirt.
Yeah.
But everyone had this idea of like what pretty is or what it means to be a woman. And I never felt that, not until I was much older. And that was with actually The Legend of Korra. I had Korra as a character redefined how I view not only, I think, looking at things a little deeper, but just to find myself as a person, because Korra is this strong character. She wasn't a girly girl. She had this huge responsibility. People always expected so much from her, and she still messed up and sometimes had a hard time acknowledging that maybe she needed help, or that she couldn't do it, or that she had to go back and try to get it right, and that she did fail. It kind of defined that people fail. You're not always going to be perfect. People are going to expect the world of you, but you got to break out of that stigma and do the best that you can, and not let those thoughts and opinions of others weigh you down. but also that it's okay. You don't have to be a girly girl to be a woman. You don't have to wear a dress to be pretty. And if you can go out there and kick ass and take names, so what? That doesn't make you any less of a woman. So that helped define how I felt about myself. And really, I cosplayed Korra for quite some time. But
I have also cosplayed Korra.
I think
She's awesome.
I struggled a lot with feeling any sort of confidence in myself, and even now still have struggles with it. Insecurity is probably one of my biggest, is my Achilles heel. But yeah, Korra, I think, is where there was a turning point in my life. And Janet's also an amazing person too, who has such great advice and such a great person to talk to. But yeah, now I'm going to say it wasn't until later, and I'm going to say that it's Korra. Korra was the turning point for me. Toph was a really great character too, but she was in a whole nother like screw stigma. I'm going to do what I want. And that I first cosplayed Toph. That was the first female character I ever cosplayed. I always cosplayed boys. I would like bind and do all that. And people would literally be like, I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. And I was so kind of androgynous when I was younger. But yeah, no, insecurities, they ran high. Yeah. So, but Korra broke that fold for me.
What about you, Katy?
That's really cool. I actually, when it came to like my femininity, that was never truly like in my area of insecurities. I definitely got bullied and, had a lot of the challenges. I grew up watching anime, and that was honestly my kind of escape from a lot of that stuff. And a character that inspired me and still inspires me to this day, like from early teenage years to now, is Rock Lee from Naruto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he essentially in the story, he is one of the only ninja that doesn't have ninjutsu or genjutsu. And so he was told that he could not become a ninja because he's not like everyone else. And he was like, fuck that. I'm going to use taijutsu, which is just fighting, and I'm going to become the greatest ninja ever. And I'm going to beat anyone that says that I can't. And he trains every single day, like every morning, every night, and he has to work a lot harder than everyone else just to get ahead. And even though people are saying it's not going to happen, like you weren't born with these gifts of being powerful. And he's like, then I'm going to work to make the gifts that I do have make me just as powerful as anyone else. And his work ethic, and then his sensei, Guy Sensei, who trained him and believed in him when no one else would, that said, you can be a great ninja, like that. Oh gosh, back in middle school, I really needed a character like that because I always did feel like I was falling a little behind, and I would have to work kind of harder. Like in my classes, like I was the girl that would sit front row, always raising my hands, asking questions, always because sometimes it would take me a little longer to get certain topics. So I would not shy away from asking questions or being present. Like I would kind of emulate Rock Lee. I was like, hey, even though you have to work a little harder, Rock Lee could do it. And like when I had to do the mile run, at school, I would think about Rock Lee, well, they're all faster than me, but I can do it. Like it's super nerdy and weeby, but it really did inspire me growing up. And when I look back, the show Naruto also got me in a lot of communities. It was really an introduction to the anime community for me. And I met a lot of friends who I could talk about these characters with, and we could talk about these ideas like working hard. And, it's silly how a lot of people, when they see anime or animation, they assume this is just for kids, but there's lessons that you can really learn as an adult too, like watching a lot of these shows. And a lot of anime do have very adult themes, but growing up, I'm very much glad that I was able to find those communities and learn some of those lessons that seem easy on paper, but when you're watching it narratively and you have people to share that with, it really can help you in your development as a person. And Rock Lee was one of those characters that, to this day, I still think he was one of the best well-written characters. 10 out of 10, Rock Lee.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I would say I think that's kind of why I love Korra so much is, she starts out on the top and she's so cocky and arrogant and I can do these things. And she really gets knocked down. She goes through this metamorphosis through the series where she's faced with being defeated. She's never hit this point of loss. And now she's at a point where she's been beaten and she's scared and she doesn't know how to move forward. People are expecting her to solve these problems and she can't. She goes through points where she literally, you know, becomes paralyzed and is crippled and feels so incapacitated physically and emotionally, I'm sure, to that regard, you know, beat down with relationships and things going on. It's, to me, she's just such a dynamic character, and it really helps you go, okay, I've been here. I've literally been to a point where I couldn't walk before. I've been in a hospital bed where they told me I probably wasn't gonna make it. You know, I've been at points in my life where, you know, I've, you know, faced heartbreak, had hard times with friendships, you know, go, why can't you just do this? And kind of having to face the defeat and walking away going, you know, I can't do it. But then to see her come back around and be like, you know what? I'm going to try this again and try to apply myself to it. And taking that and going, okay, cool. Like I found such inspiration from the character that it was just such a driving force for so many years. And subliminally, that's definitely shaped who I am as a person now, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, were you going to say something, Melissa? I didn't know if you
I just had a little commentary, like listening to, I'm like, man, the Avatar girls are so cool.
They're so great. I love them.
Yeah. And I was,
okay, so you go ahead.
I was just going to say one other thing. It's not nerdy to like relate to anime characters or whatever, especially if they help you move along, you know, achieving goals. Because full disclosure, when I work out, I pretend I'm a character. I don't pretend I don't think about me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Jedi, or you know, or I'm a magical girl running from when I'm on the treadmill, I'm running from a monster or whatever. I do that. I know a lot of people who do. Maybe it's nerdy, but you know what? So what? A lot of us do it.
But if it makes it more, if it's I guess Mary Poppins, take it, make it fun. And if it's fun, like why not? Like if people think that there's this stigma that adults can't play or have fun or play make-believe, but I feel like, you know, as you know, professionals, voice actors, or anything, no matter what your field set is, I think that it's always fun to just flex that creativity and that imagination and have fun with it. I literally, for me, I just put headphones in and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, what's going on to this music? I'm running to it. I don't care, it's happening. But yeah, but talking about the Avatar moment, when the first time we saw pictures of Maria, and I think about it every time I see her, I just like, it's old lady Katara.
Right?
Until we got to know more about her. But it's still funny to think that.
But what about your answer, Beau?
I had shows that I really liked that I like connected with just because they were, I was really picky as a kid because my parents kind of just forced me to like stick with like Disney Channel and PBS really when I was growing up. So I didn't really get to watch something of my own choosing until I was like, honestly, like 15, 16 years old. And one of the first real shows that I saw, the reason I'm going to move a little bit further on is Korra. I also relate to Korra for all the same reasons you just listed. But as well as, you know, for my own personal, like the opposite of like, you know, she helped you realize that, you know, you didn't have to be like super girly, super feminine to still be a woman. On the other side of that coin, like she helped me realize that you didn't have to necessarily be super feminine, super girly to still be just like valid as a person. Or whatever, like that your looks didn't matter as long as you could essentially do what you needed to do. And that helped me kind of a little bit on the road to like my discovery of being non-binary and whatnot. But the first character that really inspired me and helped me like get through a hard point in my life, and this will come as no surprise to you, Tina, is Chloe Price.
Chloe
Price from Life is Strange. Life is Strange came out, you know, it was what, 2014? No, 2013, I think was. No, 2014.
I think it's 2014.
And it was, you know, it was 5 years after my mom had died, and I related so heavily to Chloe because of the fact that she went through basically all the same things I went through when I was her age. And it was just interesting that it took, you know, me being like 19, 19 years old, playing this video game about like these 18, 19-year-old kids, and then learning that, you know, Chloe, when she was like 15, lost her dad, who she was the closest to. When I was 15, I lost my mom, who I was the closest to. And it just really kind of was like, it always makes me think of I can't remember what show or movie it's from, but it's from She-Ra with Scorpio, where she's like, it's like you're telling my life story but with words. Like, that was
She-Ra's so good.
That was how I felt with Life is Strange, and it was really the first bit of like media that I was like, oh my god, like this is something that I relate to so heavily, and Chloe as a character helped me realize that I was being a really shitty friend to a lot of the people I had in my life at the time, because I hated Chloe at first because of how shitty a friend she was. And then I realized, further down the line that maybe the reason I hated her was because I saw a lot of myself in her. And
snap.
Yeah, and I think if I had to pinpoint a character or like piece of media that inspired me to kind of keep going and just do my best and kind of get on the right track, it really is Life is Strange. Like, Life is Strange absolutely did that for me.
Yeah.
That's really awesome that we all have like different origin stories of things that inspire us.
But
there's so many varied characters out there.
Yeah, and looking at all those characters, I mean, just even from what we've all talked about just now, just look and see how much those characters shaped who we would go on to be, how they pushed us to do things or want to get into things, how we look at things or do things from that. And I think it's an important message to just everyone that media is so critical in this time and age, that so much can be given, so much can be taken from media. So it's really, I think, not that everything has to be like, oh, this big crazy impact, but I think being mindful and cognizant of the power that the media plays in society is important, and it really makes a difference. Whether it's big production, small production, fan content, it all plays a part somewhere. And for someone somewhere, it might be their starting point, might be their foundation of how they move forward.
And for time reasons, these next two Winterview questions, I'm just going to try to help us zoom through those so we can get to the fan question. That way we don't keep you too long. So just wanted to go ahead and preface that. For the third Winterview question, what is something you look forward to in your everyday life each week?
Oh, waking up my daughter in the morning.
Aww.
That's the best. Oh gosh, it's so great. She's always all smiles. Usually I'm kind of like, tired. We gotta go to work, gotta, do work, et cetera, et cetera. But I go and wake her up and she's always just like, it's Mom. And I'm like, wow, I've got the biggest fan in the world.
Nice. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. That's so beautiful.
She's so cute, you guys. Oh my God.
Mine is on the opposite spectrum. I look forward to my cheat day because I've started dieting.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting to eat a bunch of junk food.
I always look forward to getting to hang out with friends when I don't have to do any work. When I can just sit down and have fun. Whether it's with friends, my fiance, just sitting there like hugging my cat, like being able to just, I don't know, just be in the presence of friends or loved ones. I just like existing sometimes. It's just a magical thing. So
I think, and it's going to probably sound like a super cop-out answer, but honestly, getting to consistently sit down and record Perpetually Ajar. Like, this podcast has been something that I've really, it's been one of the most stable things that I've had in the last, 6, 7, 8 months now. That, just consistently, I'm always so excited to be able to sit down, and it's one of the few things, I mean, not that I, censor myself on my streams or on anything else, but I really feel like this is one of the few platforms that I can really just kind of be myself unabashedly. That I can talk about the things that I'm thinking about, the things that I'm feeling, and I just feel very validated by this podcast. And
yay.
So I think that if I had to pinpoint something that I look forward to in my life every week, it's really recording Perpetually Ajar.
I'm a cry.
That
makes me very happy.
How dare.
I like doing it too.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you take us to our next Winterview question?
All right, the next and final Winterview question. What is your favorite song to just sing your heart out to whenever you hear it?
For Good from Wicked.
'Cause baby, you're a firework. I love that song unironically. I love it. Katy Perry.
So I'm gonna definitely say For Good from Wicked, and that song meant a lot to me before I met you, Beau, but it definitely means a whole lot more after like having our friendship now for 2 years.
That's good.
Talking about how long it's been, but then even going and seeing Wicked together, I feel like we're two totally different people, but we come together and we're two best friends through the thick of it. And that song, just every time I hear it, I think of you and it just makes me want to cry. I'm like, oh, it's my best friend.
Oh my gosh, this is so cute.
Oh man, now I feel like I have to say for good.
You don't have to. But literally, like I was singing at work. Like I just thought about it and I was singing it, and it was like, man, that was a fun time. And I think about all the good things and how people do change each other for the better. So,
Yeah. What about you, Melissa?
So I mostly listen to Japanese and Korean music. So
Yes.
I have a lot of songs that I belt out whenever I hear them. But I'm going to go with the one that was most recent because Spotify finally added it. I'm so happy. It's a group called Porno Graffiti. They did one of the early openings for Full Metal Alchemist, like the original Full Metal Alchemist. They did a song called Melissa, and that's how I discovered them. I'm like, oh, a song with my name. That never happens. And so I really got into them. But they have a song called Agayo Buhoe, and it's a gorgeous song, and it's on Spotify. Repeatedly, actually. And I got to listen to it in the car for the first time in a long while. I have the CDs, but I mostly listen, to Spotify now or Audible when I'm driving. And the song came on and I remembered all the words. I started singing along to it. Ooh, yeah. And it was such an emotional song and it was such a big part of my life when I was younger. I started crying while singing and I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? There's certain Japanese songs because I lived in Japan and it was a very special but very difficult time for me. I changed a great deal as a person, moving from, being a homeschooled high schooler, going to college, and then striking out on my own in Japan right after college. So it was my first real way to find myself and find my independence and my own character without influence from anyone else. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of emotion started coming back when I sang that. And so that song, anything by Spitz, anything by Remy Oterman, I would say certain K-pop artists, but honestly, my Korean is terrible. So I'm not as good singing to Korean songs because I just don't know it. Whereas with Japanese, I speak it fairly decently. And so it's easy to sing along to those. But all these songs from 2005 to 2008 from Japan, anything from that era, I will sing. But that song in particular is probably my main belt. As far as English songs, anything by Billy Joel, I'll sing along to.
Yes, tell her about it.
I can't remember. Did Billy Joel do Vienna?
Yes,
I love Vienna.
I love Vienna too.
Or it's still rock and roll to me.
13 going on 30.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Oh, Billy Joel.
There's one song that he does called 2000 Years that isn't one of his singles, but it's on one of his later albums that is gorgeous. And I saw a music video to Fushigi Yuki put to it, and I loved it. I was like, I started crying again, and I was like, oh my God,
you're like,
my feelings. But yeah.
There's so much music out there.
I think I'd have to say, going off of the same strain kind of with Tina, actually, is Wizard and I from Wicked. Like, anytime I hear that song, I'm just like, and I'll stand there with the wizard.
You do. I can't. When we went and we saw Wicked, I remember you were like singing it, and then we were in the lobby, you were singing it, and man, every time that song came on, you were singing it. Now that you say that, yes, I can totally. That
song is just one of those because it's like it's the song where she really kind of establishes like, this is what my vision is, this is what my dream is, and I'm not going to let anyone stop me from achieving that, and so like that song really speaks volumes to me. I was
gonna say, really quick to add in, do you remember the world that I made that had all the Wicked songs in it, the private one on VR chat? I can't tell you how many hours I've spent in there just going through the soundtrack from Wicked in VR, just dancing in my living room, singing obnoxiously, having a time. But it's more fun because it's in VR.
I actually want to throw in one more that inspires me. The Waitress musical is my favorite musical of all time. And I know we were talking kind of about like gender identity and stuff like that earlier. And in terms of something that has really helped me as a woman is that musical and the soundtrack, because of Jenna's story of coming from abuse and realizing like that she has so much to live for. And as a woman, I've definitely struggled with not being able to stand up for myself, or, harassment, or just, typical, not that I hate men or anything, but like men in my life that I've met being kind of not okay sometimes. And that musical has a lot of songs and shows her story in such a way that inspired me. There's a song called Everything Changes, where she learns that like nothing, this bad situation is not permanent, and whatever you're going through, whatever abuse or whatever situation life is going to throw at you, you can make it out. You are strong enough, and you have people that love you and support you. And no matter how many mistakes you make, there's always a new tomorrow. And that musical it got a little overshadowed because it came out the same year as Hamilton. So of course Hamilton deserves the love and they deserve everything they got. But Waitress was, and it was also a musical that was like written and directed and like choreographed by women. And it just, and the soundtrack written by Sarah Bareilles, who is like one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Yes.
Yes. And like as a songwriter, as a performer, like just everything about that musical, just from the production of it to the lyrics to the story, inspires me. And whenever any Waitress song comes on, I can sing it like from memory. I could probably sing the whole soundtrack like front to back.
Just to throw in really quick, in case you guys didn't realize, because right now it's the 8th, which is International Women's Day. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Oh well,
I've been seeing everyone tweet about it, so I was like, wait a minute. But
nice.
But yeah,
all I saw
really
was the GIF from Deadpool. It's like Happy International Women's Days, babe. Snap straps.
But like, I think it's just important to like embrace those things that you love and those things that make you feel unabashedly enthusiastic, because that doesn't make you a loser. That doesn't make you like less than. Enjoying things actually makes you amazing. Like, we should all be encouraged to enjoy and love things, especially things that send out messages that we can relate to. And just Waitress is one of those musicals that just like every time it's perfect. And I recommend anyone watching it, like anyone, it has a story for you. Like,
I have one more song that's actually a recent addition, and again comes as no surprise. It's a song that Cassandra sings in Tangled, the series, sung by the amazing Eden Espinosa, who was previously Elphaba in Wicked. So there's that tie in there. It's her, I guess, kind of her like villain origin song. It's called Nothing Left to Lose. It's just such a fucking bop. Like, it's so, and the thing that I love about the music from the Tangled series is that they got back Alan Menken, I think was his name.
Yes.
He did the music from the movie. And so instead of like having a song every episode just because, oh, it's a Disney show, we have to have music everywhere, they have songs where it feels like a song truly belongs. And it makes it feel so much more cinematic and so much more special when those songs do appear. And Nothing Left to Lose, sung by Eden Espinosa as Cassandra, and then Jeremy Jordan as Varian. Varian.
Yeah.
And it's just such a powerful song, and I just can't not.
You've been singing it a lot.
I have been singing it a lot. I've literally just been like, I'm listening to this again. You're gonna listen to it with me. But then I think I can name a song that no matter who listens to it, you have to sing along, and that's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
of course.
It's like required by law to sing that song.
Karaoke nights with that song coming on are always fun.
Man, we need to do karaoke at RTX. Like, just roll the whole crew just somewhere.
They used
Let's
to do
go.
that in anime cons, and that's a great list.
Yes.
They have like Disney karaoke at some cons.
There's this video on YouTube. I have to find it. I can't remember what band it was. It was like Avenged Sevenfold or maybe Green Day or something. And before the show started, they had Bohemian Rhapsody playing like out in the crowd. And you can't even hear the music, but there's something, I want to say there was something like 10,000 people in the crowd. Like, it was in the stadium, just filled, packed like tuna in a can. And you can hear the crowd be perfectly in time singing. Like every person in that sea of people singing, and then hearing people like harmonize and singing like the Galileo, Galileo, like that part and whatnot. And it's such like, I got chills watching that video.
I need to look that up.
It's so cool. Just look up like crowd sings Bohemian Rhapsody. Like
I'm
it's
gonna
probably,
do that.
I want to say it was maybe Green Day, a Green Day concert. And it's like the camera is like from like up on the stage, like looking out at the audience.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Well, let us get to our fan question before we wrap things up. But I'm loving all these answers and I feel so enlightened. This has been so beautiful.
Yeah.
All
definitely.
right. So for our fan submitted question, last question of the day. If you could bring back any canceled or discontinued TV show or have a continuation of a show or movie series, what would it be and why? And this comes from our number one fan, Sugar Rush.
Xena Warrior Princess.
Or our number one Perpetually Ajar fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Avatar: The Last Airbender. That show held a very special place in my heart, and I really wanted to see what happened after, other than just in comics. It was the first show. Avatar is such a huge part of my life. It's the first show that me and my dad both connected on, and I'm a daddy's girl. My dad means a lot to me. He's not well health-wise. I'm actually gonna go see him after this. But he and I watched that, and he's like, that cosplay Cosby stuff you do, if I were ever to do anything, I would cosplay Iroh, because I used to cosplay Toph. And my dad's, he's a heavyset guy. So I'm like, Dad, like, I'll do it. Like, I'll make it. And he couldn't ever walk around at a convention. He'd have to have his wheelchair. But it was just like one of those things. Like, I doubt it'll ever happen. But man, if my dad said, I'm going to cosplay Iroh and I'm showing up at Dragon Con, I'm like, all right, Dad, let's go. I've been trying to get him to go for years to like conventions. But
so sweet.
The sad thing is that one time my dad asked me, like, oh, if you could make me cosplay a character, who would it be? And it's funny because, Tina, my relationship with my dad is the one character I could picture him cosplaying is Firelord Ozai.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my Dad, if you're listening to this, don't look up who Firelord Ozai is.
Oh my gosh. But
yes. Man. I actually have the same answer for the show. The original, not Korra, but the original Avatar, instead of them doing the comics, which I've had a hard time finding them to like be able to read them in the exact order. And so I'd love to watch an animated, sort of like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood style of after the original Avatar series, like what happens with Zuko's mom and like, all the like I have a desire and a mighty need.
Like fill in the gaps between Avatar and Korra.
I want to see the Korra comics animated because I want that Korra Sami animated.
Right?
I mean, you're right, though. You're right.
I'm just Avatar everything. Avatar: The Last Airbender was like one of the first real shows that I obsessed with. Not that I feel like I related to a character. I just really loved it. And like I said, I think it was every Saturday morning when the new episodes would air, me and my dad watched them together. And it was the one thing, like, me and my dad have not shared much. When I was 18, I moved out, and we don't really have a relationship now. Me and him had a huge blowout when I was 18. And we don't, like, relationships are hard, and we only just kind of started coming back in the last year. And Beau, I mean, you know about it, a little bit of it because I've talked with you, but kind of coming back around, and my dad's like, man, I would really like to go and do one of these. And I'm like, Dad, if you want to go, like, I will make this happen. I will buy your ticket. I will get you there. I will make sure you have a means to get around. Like, let's do it. I will put everything aside. Let's go, Dad. Because time is borrowed for him. But Avatar. I'll watch it with my dad. I'll drive an hour to go see him.
Xena Warrior Princess, man. Like, if they took, I want to see like a reboot, like retelling, like basically the same story, but just like with today's like understanding and whatnot, not having to censor things as much as they did back in the 90s.
And miss us with that queer baiting shit and make it real.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Make it real. Make it real.
Gay.
Yes.
Make it Steven Universe wedding in the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need this. I need Gabriella and Xena to just elope.
Yes,
now
please.
kiss.
Like, unabashedly gay, please. Unabashedly bi, because like both of them fell in love with men at one point.
Yes.
And
I have to say, I have a special
fell in love with each other.
I have a special place in my heart for Joxer, so I can't.
I do love Joxer.
I can't leave him high and dry. He really liked
Ducks are the
Gabrielle.
mighty.
Yes.
You know, I used to watch Xena and Stargate with my mom, though. Like, my mom would always watch them, and I would just go in their bedroom and watch it with my mom. And just,
I watched Xena with my big sister. So
yeah, Xena, Hercules, Stargate.
So this isn't my answer, but on the topic of Avatar series, hear me out. An Avatar Kyoshi series.
Yes.
Queen.
Sign me the
Yes.
fuck up.
I want the Kyoshi Warriors on all of my merch. I want a resurgence.
That's what I'm
we
about.
did. It was either a comic or a book, but they just recently released like a Kyoshi book of some sort that actually explored like how like her bisexuality and like explored her like origin story as the Avatar, like all of that. And I heard it was really good.
So this is just kind of like me wishing and being hopeful, but I want to get like a group of friends. Like I want to get like 10 people at least, and we'll all get together. We'll all like workshop it and just all have this matching Kyoshi like get up and just roll through a con. Just literally, just get one person to be Sokka and just like having that, and get somebody to be Suki. And
I will be Sokka.
Sokka as a Kyoshi warrior, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
and then just roll through like Kyoshi warrior. We'll have like a
Brian
planned
can
out.
be Sokka.
We'll be like those douchebag high schoolers who like take up the whole hallway when they walk.
So,
and we'll walk with purpose.
Going off of that, we used to have an Avatar cosplay group, and we were Team Swagatar.
Love it.
Because we all had tearaway pants with booty shorts underneath.
Wow.
And so like Korra's was like wet and wild on her butt. Asami's was big assets, and the two S's were money signs.
I love it.
God.
That's amazing.
I
so
can't
happy.
remember. Mine is Kuvira. I have a picture somewhere. I have to find out. It was Kuvira with tearaway pants, and then my butt said dictator.
This makes me so happy. Why aren't there more cosplays like this?
Oh my god.
There was like fan art.
Like
of
maybe
this
there should
group.
be a
never
movie
heard
one
of this.
version
I
of
love
this.
It was great. It was great. But we had talked
I did
about,
see a cosplay group of Swag and Ball Z, and that made me very happy.
We had talked about doing a Kyoshi Warriors like group, but also doing the tearaway pants and having them all say like rock hard on the butt.
Man, now I want to go figure out what would it be if it was RWBY. Like go through the characters and just.
I mean, I'm already Vanilla Weiss.
Oh no, Vanilla Weiss.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go figure this out later.
It'll be great.
Bless.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so
Yes,
what's your answer, Melissa? What's your show?
Can I have two? Because I'm debating.
Yes.
Okay, because one of them is kind of mainstream basic, and the other one is a bit more nerdy. So the mainstream basic one is, and I've talked about this on my Twitter a bit. So I was just like, did this person read my Twitter before asking? There is a show on ABC starring John Cho and Karen Gillan called Selfie.
Ooh.
It was a modern retelling of My Fair Lady.
Oh.
And it used to be on Hulu. It's gone now. I have to download the episodes, but I have them, and it was so good, guys. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, and the chemistry was amazing. The character of Eliza was she's vapid, but then you start to learn that she has like some serious believable insecurities. She was basically a nerd in school, and she basically obsessed over being hot and attractive and accepted by the cool kids because of various baggage in her family. And it's nice because there's, of course, the character of Henry, who's played by John Cho, teaching her to be, a person who doesn't, obsess with her internet fame. But she also teaches him to maybe care a little bit more about social media and being connected with people, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very good retelling. The title of the show, I think, did not do it any favors. So it got canceled very quickly, but it was so good, guys. It was so good. And so that would be my number one choice.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go check it out.
And then your other choice would be?
My other choice would be a reboot of Ronin Warriors known as Yoroiden Samurai Troopers. It was so good. You guys know Saint Seiya?
Yeah.
So in Japan, Saint Seiya and Yoroiden Samurai Troopers came on at the same time. when they first debuted at the same time. And Saint Seiya was more popular with the boys, and Samurai Troopers was more popular with the girls. And so they're very similar in kind of their style, whereas Saint Seiya is more Roman mythology and, Knights of the Zodiac. Ronin Warriors, I'll just call it Ronin Warriors because that's what it's known most popularly as in the States. Ronin Warriors was based on Japanese warlords and Japanese mythology and history, samurai and things like that. It was really good. The voice acting cast in the English was some of my favorite as far as ensembles go. But the animation did not age well. It's old. It was very popular when it came out. Do you guys know of Clamp? They did like Cardcaptor Sakura X.
Yes.
Code Geass.
They did the character designs for Code Geass and stuff. They got their start doing doujinshi, like fan comics, right?
Oh, wow. Of
and
course,
one of the first series that they did doujinshi for was Ronin Warriors. So like if you Google Clamp Samurai Troopers, you'll find their artwork. It's beautiful. But yeah, that I think I think that a reboot of that would do amazingly well. I would love to see, once Harmony Gold lets go of the license, I would love to see the team who did Korra and Voltron do a Robotech.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love that animation studio. It's in what, Singapore? I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
All over the place.
Because it was the same
Maybe
studio
Korea,
that
too.
did Voltron did. Yeah. I'd have to look it up, but I know it's the same studio. The same studio did Legend of Korra, did Voltron.
I would like to see them do Robotech because I think they would
animation.
do a really good job.
Yeah,
I know.
That would be cool.
I know that one of the studios that did some work on, I want to say Last Airbender, I think their name is Titmouse.
Yes.
Titmouse Studios. Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on the Critical Role animation.
Yes, they are.
The series. I want to see. I know that they're doing Vox Machina. They're doing a lot of Vox Machina. I want to see Mighty Nine stuff, but that's just me. Like,
me too. Agreed. 100%. I'm with you.
The Mighty Nine stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna add one more because I'm a nerd for it. But I really, really loved the Disney show that came on Jetix, which was called Witch. It was a show made from the comics from this Filipino artist. My brain it took a poop. Anyways, my handle online used to be Which I Am Will. So I guess backtracking a little bit, she was kind of maybe the first character that I liked that kind of latched onto. She wasn't a girly girl either. Will Vandam was such a great character. For like the kids show that I watch, it's super cheesy, but I loved her. She was super insecure, but was kind of thrust in this position of like, all right, now figure it out.
And I would love to see an original, like, because I know we have Teen Titans Go, and I actually do like Teen Titans Go and its sense of humor, but the original Teen Titans, I would like to see what happens because they did not really give us the best finale in terms of finishing some of those character stories. I would like to see those.
I want those so bad. So bad. Have you ever watched the Teen Titans Go movie? Like the one where
oh yes. The Teen Titans Go movie, objectively
Go.
A great movie. Oh my gosh.
So, but the Teen Titans Go or Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go movie, all they do is crap on Teen Titans Go, and I love it.
I know, but like I unironically stan the Teen Titans Go movie. Like the humor, the writing, the performances these actors give that truly love these characters. Like I can only support them. Like it's so good. Like I'm happy that they get to perform at this stage in their career, that they have these characters that are so iconic. And I think they've really made something beautiful, like, and made it brand new. Like, is it the old Teen Titans? No, it's not comparable. It's a new thing that they've made with these characters that they love and play so well. And like, I could talk about this for hours. Like, I genuinely, I support these actors. Like,
I have one last. It's actually like oh my god, this show was like obviously canceled or whatever, and I need it to continue.
Yes. Give us your last one, Beau, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yes, it's an older anime. When I say older, it's like 2002, 2003, I think. So older for like me, but it's a show called Burst Angel. And they had like the first season. The first season had, I think, like 26 episodes, like your typical like longer anime season. And it ends on like a cliffhanger. And like it ends on like a pretty like, okay, this is a pretty definitive like final, this is the end of the series kind of cliffhanger. where it's just kind of like, oh, well, what could they possibly do next, you know, but it wasn't necessarily meant to be continued. And then like a couple years later, they released a teaser, like opening sequence of a second season, and then never did anything else.
That's mean.
Yes. And it was like, and like one of the characters that they implied had died in the first season was like in the opening sequence, and it was like, wait, what? Like, it looked like they were like brainwashed and shit. And so I was like, oh my god,
wow.
I'm so hyped. When does this come out? And then
never did.
Nothing. Like 2006 was when they released like that animation, and it's just like, but what? There has to be something more, and then they just never did anything with it. And so, like, if I had to pick any anime series, like, it has to be Burst Angel. Like, they have to continue Burst Angel, please.
I have to bring up 2 more shows, but I'll do it quickly.
Okay, do it.
Sonic Saturday Morning. I would love to have a reboot of that, and none of the crazy Archie stuff that it went completely nuts on. And for a Korean drama, I really would like to see a second season of Memories of Alhambra, which is on Netflix, because it was a great TV show. Basically, the premise of it is, you guys know Ready Player One?
Yes.
Imagine if Ready Player One actually involved adults who knew what they were doing.
Ooh.
Me, so just VR chat.
Well, VR, except there's a twist. What if the wounds ended up being real?
You die in the game, you die in real life.
Ding, ding, ding.
That
Sword Art Online. Oh my god,
it's nuts, guys! It's so good, and they left it on a cliffhanger, and and people are so upset, and I'm okay with it, but I would really like to see more because it has my favorite actress in it too. So it's on Netflix, guys. Check it out; it's really cool.
I'm gonna.
Heck yeah!
I got so much homework. I need to go check it out now. I'm like,
I know.
I'm gonna add to my list. I need to watch stuff. It's gonna happen. We're gonna do marathon
and
stuff.
Ronin Warriors,
it's gonna be
Samurai
great.
Troopers is on Crunchyroll if people want to watch it because it's really good. It's got one of the best redemption arcs I've ever seen.
Ooh, yeah, I'm actually interested in that now that you said it's about like that mythology.
I know my fiance's watched it. She's big into anime, and I don't want to say that I'm not big into anime. I like some. I feel like I fall in a lot of mainstream stuff.
But you're a casual viewer as opposed to
I just don't have time even for the stuff that I like.
Hey, I understand.
Yeah, I'm more of a manga reader, honestly, but like, yeah, I get it.
Obviously, Tangled is on Disney Plus and Disney.
when I get time though, I go and I binge like a whole series, and then it becomes my life for a while.
I understand. I know that life.
That was me with RWBY. I binged through volumes 1 through 5 just so quick. Anyways, it was, and then I was like, I'm in this now. I'm here to suffer. I'm about this.
Well, heck yeah. Well, I think this is a good place to kind of wrap up for the day. This is going to be one of our longest episodes, but
sorry,
that's okay.
I'm a Gabby girl.
No, that's fine. No, that is a-okay. We just don't want to like take away too much of your time, but I am a-okay with this, and I'm super happy that we were all able to have this chat. Where can they find you? And do you have any projects or anything that you would personally like to promote for yourself or for whatever? Like, just talk about you, girl. What do you want to promote? What are your Twitters and your
Yeah. So my Twitter is @Mippa, MIPPA. So that's one place. I also have a Facebook page. Just look up Melissa Sternenberg, voice actress. I usually post announcements on things that I'm doing there. If you're wanting to follow my voiceover work and not hear me rant about Star Wars or whatever else I'm talking about that day. What else? Other than that, there's obviously keep an eye out for me. I'm coming back on RWBY, so I've already worked on that. For video games, if you guys like visual novels, one of my favorite performances is probably in The Letter, which is a horror visual novel by Yang Yang Mobile. So that's a fun one. Definitely check that out. Otherwise, I love all the stuff that I've done. I don't really have a favorite. So
all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
Yes, all of it. So go follow her social medias. Go follow her stuff.
And guys, my goal for this year is to go to more conventions as a guest because I would like to meet some more RWBY fans. So please ask your conventions for me. The places that I go are determined by where I'm requested. So if you want me to show up at a convention, talk to your convention runners and tell them that you guys want to see me and maybe some of the other RWBY cast. That's how we get there.
Time to at everyone.
We don't pick them out. Our agents pick them out. So we got to be requested.
Very much.
Yes. So we'll make sure you guys, at her, at the cons, be like, yo, invite her, do this, stuff like that, because then they'll know who to invite. And they're like, all right, cool. Let me go get this person.
And don't do it like a week before the con.
They plan these things out
in advance.
Yeah, maybe even a year in advance. Like some of these conventions book out super early.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Tina, where can they find you?
I am at Tina Mickel on Twitter because I'm Tina Mickel. That's what I do. I mostly post a lot of modeling stuff on there. I'll post a lot of my stream notifications there. You can find stuff like I have various things listed on there if you want to support what I do. I'm trying to move away from killing myself working my boring day job and being able to do things I love, like 3D modeling, this project, getting to do some other things and really getting to just flex some of those creative muscles a little bit more because it's hard to be an artist and live and pay bills. Because, rent is a thing and car payments and credit cards, life. I don't have a kid, but I have fur babies and they definitely get expensive. So, but yeah, no, at Tina Mickel on Twitter, same name on Twitch. I try to keep everything the same across the board. Please don't add me on Facebook. I don't use it. I use it very minimally just to complain about other things in my life that I probably shouldn't. But yeah, no, that's it. Twitter and Twitch, Discord. You can find me through the KRWBY server. I'm here.
And we will have links in the description below for all of the things that they say. And where can they find you, Beau?
As usual, you guys can find me on Twitter at Beau from KRWBY, BEAUFROM KRWBY. You can find me on Twitch where I do all of my gaming live streams and my live panel reactions, which is twitch.tv/CB Cosplay. You can also find the link to my Discord server where I post all of my reaction content that I record ahead of time. All you gotta do is join the server to be a member, and that's how you get access to all that. As far as things that I want to promote, the same thing that I've been promoting for the last 3 months, Nondescript Winter Holiday 2. It is so close. It's not even funny. So close to being done. We've got all the music. We're just working on the sound design and the Foley, and then we just got to kind of all put it together, and then it should be done soon. I'm really sorry that it's taken this long, guys, but I really, really think that it's going to have been worth the wait. Please, please, please keep an eye out for that. Nondescript Winter Holiday 2. And if you haven't already watched it, go watch Nondescript Winter Holiday from last year, 2018.
Also to add along with that is RWBY Abridged is right on its heels as well. Because I know everyone's been asking, where's Nondescript Winter Holiday 2? Where's RWBY Abridged? We love you guys. We've been working hard on it. We know it's been some time since the last one. But it's Murphy's Law is working its magic the best way that it does. And it's just been an absolute nightmare. But that's okay. We're getting there, and we're gonna make sure that we tackle these things to do better next time.
But where else can they find you, Beau?
That's it. Where can they find you?
Oh, heck. Well, hey, guys, you can find me on Twitter and any social media platform at KaniDay Official. That is KaniDay Official. You can also find me, of course, on Dr. Crafty on YouTube, where I am a writer and performer. You can find me at the Weird Flex But Okay podcast, hosted by myself and Jordan Jack's Blade Down. It is a comedy, weebs, workout, and advice podcast where we answer your questions. You can follow us on Weird Flex Pod on Twitter and follow our Patreon at Weird Flex But Okay Patreon. And you can also find me, of course, at KRWBY Productions, where we are doing all sorts of crazy things. And you can find KRWBY Productions on Twitter at RWBYABRG. Links will be below. You can find us on Patreon, and we are going to be doing some cool Patreon stuff in the near future, so keep an eye there. We will be making announcements and all sorts of fun things. And yeah, we have a lot of cool content coming out. And of course, you can find me at Perpetually Ajar, where we like to make this beautiful podcast for you all to interview cool people and maybe just share some fun things about the things that we do here at KRWBY. And thank you guys so much for listening. We usually in the middle of the episode will come up with whatever the title or the name will be, by something that was said.
I actually wrote one down from the beginning of the episode.
Is it Perpetually Exhausted?
It was.
Me too. I wrote that down too. Because as soon as she said Perpetually, I was like, that's the title. Do we want to go with Perpetually Exhausted for the episode name?
I'm so happy with Perpetually Exhausted. If you guys are cool with it, I'm cool with it.
I think it's funny. I think
Excellent.
It's a funny play on words.
I'm here for it.
All right, awesome. Well, we did it.
Yay!
We did it. We made a podcast.
I am the first person to be on Perpetually Ajar twice. I'm just going to dab at that.
Actually, that's true. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
listening.